guys. This episode 19 of War Stories. I'm going to get straight into it, but before I do, you guys already know, household business, man. So check it out, man. Last night I did a live. During the live, some of you made some suggestions about some of the things that you guys want to hear me talk about in some of my upcoming war stories. You guys keep mentioning the situation that I talked about before that happened with the truck. Me flipping my work truck. It had nothing to do with the high speed I got into it with. This was a totally different incident. And then somebody else mentioned about how when I flooded the fucking yard. I know you guys probably think this dude don't know how to drive for shit. Actually, man, I do. But there were just some situations that I ended up getting into, and it is what it is, man. So look, I'm going to tell that story. I might tell it next, and they're two different situations, but I'm going to go ahead and just give you guys a double. I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone and just put it all in one video, but I'm gonna do that next. Now, this situation that I'm gonna talk about now, I usually don't talk about my juvenile history. However, there is a lot of shit that I did back when I was a juvenile that I'm gonna talk about. A lot of it was gangbanging, and a lot of it was red on red. You know, since I started doing these war stories, I've kind of went into my 20s, and some of the stuff that it's not recent, obviously, but it happened later on when I was older, in my early 20s and mid 20s, and I kind of skimmed over a lot of the stuff that I did. But I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back and talk about some of that stuff, man. And this situation right here actually happened when I was a juvenile, and I was just gonna tell you guys off the rip what happened while I was in juvenile hall, because that's really where that's the crux of this story right here. However, I'm just going to tell you what led me to get locked up in juvenile. I might as well, man. I might as well tell you guys the full story. So I'm going to keep it real with you, man. When we were living in Excelsior and I was 14, 15 years old, I was a badass kid. I burglarized the fucking whole neighborhood. There was a lot of houses in our neighborhood. They say you don't shit in your own backyard. I guess I didn't learn. I didn't learn my lesson, man, because I straight up, man, I robbed or I burglarized at least both neighbors on both sides of us, the house that we were living in. I burglarized the house across the street. I burglarized the house on the corner up by Peru and Felton. And I burglarized a house around the corner on Madison. So this situation right here, this happened because of the house that I burglarized on Madison. Now, like I said, it was around the corner. And in order to get to that house, you'd have to go around the corner on Madison. But you could access it by jumping two fences. Where our backyard was, if you go into my backyard, you can jump that fence, jump another fence, and you'd be right there in their backyard. So don't ask me why, man. There was a lot of shit that I did when I was a kid that it makes absolutely no sense. It was stupid, man. Kids, man, kids are dumb. I guess it's to be expected. But for whatever reason, the day I decided to burglarize our neighbors, one of them, I went out and I got our mail first. I got our mail and I put it in my fucking back pocket. Went to the backyard. I took some tools with me, a screwdriver and a little like a little crowbar so I can get in the house. Anyway, I jump both fences. I get back there, and it's broad daylight too, man. This is not at nighttime. Broad daylight. I knew that there was a female that lived there. I knew chances were that she used to work during the daytime, so chances were she wasn't gonna be home. I knew that much about her, that I knew of my neighbors who worked and who didn't work, just from observing, just from being out there in the neighborhood, obviously. But so I get in her backyard, I pop the screen, and I bust the window to the back door. So I get in, I'm in the house. I start thrashing the house, man. I go in there, I hit the bedroom, I fucking flip the bed. I go in the closet, I start tearing up the closet, go through the fucking dressers. I tear the house up, man. To keep it 100 with you guys, that house was a fucking, it was a waste of time. there wasn't shit in that motherfucker, man. I think there was a fucking jar of fucking coins, like dimes, quarters, nickels, pennies, and like a change jar that I took. Other than that, there wasn't shit in that motherfucker, man. No valuables. I wasn't about to lug no fucking TVs out that motherfucker, man, and radios and shit like that. I had a ton of them. I used to burglarize. I mean, I committed so many burglaries that the house, the outside shed that we lived at, we had an outside shed. I had TVs, stereos, amplifiers, car speakers, car stereos. It was like a fucking swap meet back there, man. But anyway, so I go in there and I'm hitting this pad, man, and I'm tearing the motherfucker up, man. And you know, let me say this though, man. I touched on this the other day, and somebody actually asked me if you know, if I can ever talk about the remorse that I feel, you know, about a lot of the people that I victimized. And I'm going to say this, man. Again, when we're youngsters, when we're kids, and we're out there and we're doing things like burglarizing people's houses, vandalizing cars, taking, you know, breaking the car window, going in, stealing the stereo, ripping the fucking dashboard apart, tearing out the speakers, the amps. When we're doing that kind of shit, man, or we take it a step further and you know, it's a little bit more up close and personal, and we're robbing people and beating them up and stomping them out. We don't think about these things when we're kids, man. We don't think about how we're affecting somebody, but the shit really does traumatize people. Put your hands on somebody, it fucks them up, man. I did not understand the psychological, you know, the psychological damage that you inflict on somebody whenever you rob them or you go through their shit, that you invade their personal space or you vandalize their property. I get it now. I'm older, I'm humble, I'm wiser. So I understand, man. And you know, I might sound redundant when I say this, but you know, I got some things, some nice things that I pay for. I pay for them every month. I gotta pay for my truck. I gotta pay for my bike. I have other nice things that I've paid for legitimately, and nobody can take that away from me. So when you know somebody was to come along and just smash my fucking windshield or tear my dash apart, ripping my speakers and my system out, man, I go fucking ape shit. It would piss me off in the worstest way imaginable, man. You know, if somebody was to come into the house and burglarize the house, I understand how somebody can feel that, you know, somebody invaded your privacy. Somebody came into your world, into your fucking your little castle, man. And you know, for some people, those effects, man, they last for an entire lifetime. Some people just never get over getting traumatized like that, man. Me myself, man, you know, I would be pissed off. Somebody came in the house. I've never been burglarized. I've never had to experience something like that. But if somebody did, I mean, it's not gonna traumatize me for the rest of my life. But it is gonna affect me, man. It is gonna have an effect on me, you know, especially somebody coming into my little personal space, man. But for you youngsters out there, man, if there's any of you youngsters that are watching this and you guys are out there and you're still in the mix and you're out there ripping and running, tearing shit up in the streets, man, I understand, man, because you guys are young and that's what I used to do. But just think about how your mom or your family, your brother, your sister, somebody in your family would feel if somebody else came along and tore their shit up. Think about that, man. Karma's a motherfucker. You know, everything that you do, man, I'm not somebody that's, I'm not religious. I'm really not big on religion. I'm not superstitious. But I do believe in karma. I believe in bad karma and I believe in good karma. And I believe that everything that we do comes full circle. If you're out there fucking people over, which this is why I don't fuck with Instagram. somebody just got to like all 150 of my fucking videos, and come on, man. I'll take one or two and I'm good, man. But you don't got to do all 150. Oh. So just think about that, man. Think about how it would affect your family. Think about, you know, the way that they would feel. And I'm pretty sure you guys care enough about your families not to want to see them suffer that kind of grief, man. So, you know, think about it, man. And like I said, at least with me, I think karma, I've gotten good karma from the good things that I've done, trying to help people. And I think I've gotten bad karma because of all the shit that I've done over my life, man. So just think about that, man. Think about it. You know, it's different when, you know, when you have things that you bought and it's legit. You know, a lot of the shit that I used to get when I was, before I went to prison, or shit that I used to have, it was things that I stole or I took from somebody else. So I didn't give a fuck about losing it. If I lost it or somebody else clipped me for it, give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I stole it anyway. But when you finally reach a point in your life where you're ready to turn that corner, man, and stop all the bullshit. I can still hear that motherfucker inside the drawer, man. That's crazy. You're ready to turn that corner, man, and you know, start doing things legitimately. It's different, man, when somebody takes something from you, or when somebody vandalizes something that you've bought with your hard-earned money. Trust me on that. If you guys aren't receptive to what I'm telling you right now, at least just remember what I'm telling you, so that when you get older, or when you get to a point where these things happen to you, you'll remember this right here, man. So that's all I want to say on that, man. Anyway, let me get back to this story. So anyway, I'm inside. I'm tearing this house up, man. I'm ripping this motherfucker apart. I'm in the fucking dresser drawers. I tore the closet up. I tore up every room in the house. Like I said, there was nothing. No, there was no dope, because I've hit houses where there was actually dope under the fucking mattress with guns and shit, but there was nothing in there. I took that change and I was gone, right? So I came out the house, and there was this other neighbor that lived around the corner across the street from that house, and I came out the front door. Why? I don't know. I don't know why I came out the front door. Maybe it's because I had that big ass jar of change, and I couldn't hop the fence. I don't remember why, but I know I went out the front door. When I came out the front door, this Africano that lived across the street from the house I just came out of, the motherfucker identified. He seen me. He seen me, and he told me, I'm going to call the fucking cops on you, man. Because he knew what I was doing. The motherfucker knew. He was one of them nosy motherfuckers, one of them neighborhood watch type of individuals. So anyway, I end up getting arrested for that shit. The cops end up coming to the house. Like later on that day, I end up getting arrested, and they snatch me up and they take me to juvenile. They arrest me for a burglary. I get hemmed up on a fucking burglary, man. So anyway, they take me to juvenile hall. I'd already been there a couple times. I knew the routine, man. I used to fight like a motherfucker in juvenile hall, man. And I know a lot of people say that they used to fight, but I'm telling you, San Francisco Juvenile Hall, the Africanos, shout out to all my African brothers, man. I love you motherfuckers, because you motherfuckers taught me how to throw these things. But I used to get into it with the Africanos, not because we didn't like each other, but it's just because we were always competing, man. We were always, if it wasn't the TV, it was over the phone. If it wasn't over the phone, it was over something that happened in class. If it wasn't something that happened in class. It was for something that happened in the day room. But I used to sling them with these dudes, man, all the time. And so they got 5 units in it's called Woodside Youth Guidance Center, YGC, in San Francisco. I don't know what they call other ones in other cities, but that's what it's called, YGC. So they got 5 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they start the youngest to the oldest. B5 is like the maximum security unit. That's where all the older kids at, 17 motherfucking YA rejects or kids that are going to YA troublemakers. You got motherfuckers in there with full beards. Oh, big ass kids, man. So I used to always go there because, you know, they used to put me in B4 when I first started going to juvenile, but I start fighting over there. I start fighting in B4, so eventually they put me in 5. And 5, it's different than all the other whatever they call them, wards or fucking the other units. B4 through B1 it's you got like three or 4 little hallways, and the rooms, the little rooms are they're big and they're just different than it is in B5. B5, you're like, it's like the oil. You're in the hole. You got big ass solid doors with a little window and a little bunk, and it's fucking just a little concrete box, man. That's all it is. And the only thing that we really used to do there, besides come out in the day room and go to school during the day, is go to the gym. In the gym, that's another place where fights used to always fucking happen. So there, in the gym, the only thing that you really do over there in Frisco is play hoop, play basketball, man. That's all we used to do. And most of the time, the Africanos used to take one side of the court. They play over there because they shoot ball fucking the whole time. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the rest of us will be on the other side, motherfuckers that don't really know how to play. I mean, I had hops though, man. I ain't gonna lie. But on the real, we used to play ball on the other side. Sometimes, occasionally, you know what I mean, the Africanos would be like, hey, come over here, man. We need you. We need another player, right? And I used to shoot with them. But during those times, that's when I used to get into it with cats, man. Somebody would be hacking a motherfucker, man, or somebody just start pressing you, man. Start pressing me and shit. And next thing you know, we just straight up. You guys like that shit. I read all them comments, man. So we start getting them up, right? Bing, 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 in the gym. And a lot of the times, the counselors would break it up. And I'm just giving you guys a little bit of fucking insight on how it was in juvenile. This is not really why I'm telling you this story. You know, when we were really gonna fucking thump, like if we were gonna play basketball, we were playing basketball, and we got into it, and we squared them up, and the you know, couple people kind of separated us, broke it up, and the counselors got in the middle of it and shit. And we were like, yeah, well, what's up then, fool? What's up with you, right? If it got to that far, what would happen is at the end of gym, that's when you got ready to throw down, because you knew it was gonna happen. Because what we would do is we line it up, and when you go back to the unit, you walk back. You got to carry your shoes. So you walk back in your socks. But if you were getting ready to thump, and if you got into it with somebody verbally, you were going to fight in the hall. It was off top. That was motherfucking HHPs. That was B5's HHPs. It was mandatory. If you didn't, you was a punk, man. So, you know, there was times I remember I got into a verbal with some cats. And when we lined it up, I took my shoes off, but then I took my socks off. When you take your socks off, that's a clear indication that we gonna fight. We gonna fight. Motherfuckers see you take your socks off, they're like, oh, okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? And it would, for me, it always kick off when we walk up the hall, right? B5 is all the way at the end down this way, so you had to come up and then turn the corner and then go all the way up. So it always used to happen. I'm talking about like it was almost another policy to do it right there. When you walk up and you had to turn around right there when everybody turned, you just drop your shoes and just go at it right there. That's when you start going at it. Anyway, I remember I got into it this one time with, usually when I would fight, they would leave me in B5 and motherfuckers just have to deal with it. They put me on a special program because like if I get into it with one cat, you have a bunch of homies from Fillmore or something, and I had to fight all of them. They'd all be on my shit, man. I get into it with one, and next thing you know, the rest of them is like, you know what, man? Fuck that. We're gonna serve that fool, man. And it would be on. And this was one of those situations, man. I got into it with a couple cats out of Fillmore, Littlewood, and who's that other cat's name? I forget his name, but there was like 3 of them, and it was on site. Every time we came out, 3 days, we come out, it was on. They'd either drill me or I drill them. One of them would get off on me or I get off on one of them. But if they were all out, they'd all rush me, man. So they ended up moving me to B4. I was surprised, man, that they let me go to B4. It's like, for me, that was a upgrade. It was like, damn, I might have some freedom over there. It's cool, man. Motherfuckers got radios and everything over there, man. So I go to B4, and I had thought about it. I was in B4 before. I had thought about trying to escape when I was over there before. I was looking at, so they got these big plate glass windows, man. Right where you sit down and you watch TV. There's a day room with a TV, and I had thought about it, man. I had thought about trying to escape from there one time. I was thinking, man, if I take some of these chairs and I just throw them through the fucking window, there was like a little spot that it looked like it was low. It was low enough to where you could jump up and hit the roof, man. Seriously, it was hella low. It was real low. So I had thought about it, man, but I never did it. I never did it, man. I was looking at going to a fucking program, and so I went on to my program. But this time when I had this burglary, man, I was tripping. I was like, these motherfuckers gonna shoot me to YA, you know what I'm saying? So I remember there was an Africano named Lamont Jackson. I remember his name because I fought him when we were kids, when I used to go to Juvenile, not Juvenile, when I used to go to Visitation Valley. Visitation Valley, it was again, man, it was an all-black school. Right outside the fucking ghetto, right outside Sunnydale, man, the Sunnydale Project, Swampy D. It was nothing but Africanos from Double Rock and Swampy Desert. They used to call it the Swampy D, Swampy Desert, man. So, anyway, I remember I ran into Lamont there, man, and he was like, fucking so I'm thinking about trying to get up out this motherfucker, man. And we start talking, man. I'm like, what you got in mind? What you thinking about, man? And he's like, fuck, I'm trying to go through those windows right there and hit the roof and fucking just, there's got to be a fence or something a motherfucker can hit where you can get up out of here, man. And then when we get out the front, just go, there's a school right there. I think it was called McAteer, man. So I was like, damn, bro. It was like, I thought about that too myself, man. I was thinking about busting these windows out and going for it. So he was like, man, you want to try it, man? He was like, I need to get up out of here, man. He was on his way to YA. So I was like, man, at first I was leery. I was thinking we're never gonna make it. There's no way we're gonna make it, man. And I've always been a big youngster. You know what I mean? I've always been a big youngster. I was fast when I was younger. I was fast on my feet, nimble as fuck. But I've always been a big youngster. So I was like, I don't think I can make it, man. You know what I mean? I don't know how far I gotta jump or what fences, or even if there's a fence that we're gonna end up hitting. We'd be stupid to go through go through the window, get up on the roof, and not have a spot to get up out of there, man. And he was like, man, I had some homies that did it before. Motherfuckers broke the window in B3 and got up on the roof, and there's a spot. They fucking just ran and jumped straight over the fence. One of them made it. One of them ended up breaking his ankle, man. So I was like, man, fuck it, bro. I'm down. You know what I'm saying? I'm down, man. I'm down to try it, bro. You break that fucking window, and I'll be right behind you. He's like, I'll break that motherfucker. So anyway, he wanted to do it the next day. He wanted to do it the next day because there was an Africano named Gibson that used to work. He was a counselor. And Gibson was fast on his feet. He used to come down and play basketball in the gym with us, so we knew that motherfucker probably catch us, bro. There was another white guy. Fuck was his name? Started with the A, man. I can't remember his fucking name, man. But anyway, he was cool ass dude, Italian cat. But he was an older dude, and he wouldn't have been able to even scale that fucking wall, man. So we're like, hey, let's try this shit tomorrow, man. Let's set it up for tomorrow. So hell yeah, let's do it. So that whole day, man, I'm tripping. The rest of the day, I'm tripping. I'm like, man, if we make it, you know what I mean? What am I gonna do, man? You know, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen if I get caught? You know what I mean? They're gonna fucking hit me with an escape. So anyway, the next day, old boy came in. The white dude came in. The Italian guy. He came in, and I almost had his motherfucking name. Anyway, he came to work, and fucking Lamont, at one point we were in the fucking day room, and this motherfucker picked up a whole stack of chairs, a row of them, like 5 of them. He picked it up and he fucking just ran and hit the window. Boom! It sounded like a train hit that motherfucker, man. Boom! And the window fucking shattered. And that motherfucker was out that window before them fucking seats hit the fucking ground. No bullshit. He was out that motherfucker quick. I seen him go out, and I seen him hit that fucking spot where the wall was. That motherfucker scaled that wall. He was up on the roof, man. I was just barely coming out the window when I seen him hit that wall. So I came out, I hit the wall, I get up on the roof, I can see him running. This motherfucker had ran all the way down, and there's a spot down there where it's kind of close to the fence, man. It's still a long fucking jump. I seen him jump, and he fucking made it, man. He jumped, and he was on the other side of that fence. When I was running down, I was still running down to where that spot was. I could see him on the, there was like a little road that led to the back of it's like you could go all the way around the juvenile hall, the facility. He was on that road, and it led straight to McAteer. So when he ran by, I ran over to that spot, and I ran as fast as I could, man. But as I got closer, I fucking stopped dead in my motherfucking tracks, man. And I knew I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it, man. It was too fucking far. It was too far, man. I turned around, I fucking backed up, and I ran again as fast as I could, man. And I knew again, man, when I came up on it, I'm like, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to land on the motherfucking fence in the barbed wire. So I'm tired now too, man. I'm tired. I'm like, man, I got to rest. I got to catch my breath so that I can get over this motherfucker, man. And I stopped for a minute. And as soon as I stopped, man, I see fucking, I look over and I see one of the counselors coming up on top of the roof, man. Coming up on top of the roof. Counselors out of B3, B4, B5, they all started responding. They hit the alarm. Anyway, I caught my breath. This motherfucker was running over to where I was at. and I jumped. I ran as fast as I could. I jumped, and my motherfucking big ass ended up. I damn near hit the barbed wire, but I hit the fence and landed straight in the fucking grass on the other side of the side of the fence, the wrong side of the fence, and I was stuck, man. I was stuck in that motherfucker. There was nowhere to go. I got up and I ran down to the fucking to the end where it stopped, and it was fucking closed off. Turned around, I could see the other end. There was nowhere to go. All I could do was just stand there, man. I stood there until fucking the counselor, one of the counselors that was working B3, the one that jumped up on the roof, he came over to where I was at, and he just stood up on the roof and was just looking down. He's like, hey man, stay right there, don't move. You can't go nowhere. He's like, you're done. You know what I'm saying? You're done, man. Just stay where you're at. So I'm like, man, I ain't going nowhere. Fucking going nowhere, man. I can't go nowhere. And then there's it took about 10 minutes, man. Like 10 minutes later, there's a door that came out that led out to where I was at. They came through that door, took me back up in that motherfucker. Walked me back to B5, man. Housed me over there, and the fight was back on with the motherfucking Africanos. Now, they actually, to keep it 100 with you guys, when I went over there, everybody had heard about the escape, and it kind of, because of that, it was kind of like motherfuckers didn't really fuck with me. It wasn't no issue. Everybody was laughing. They were tripping out like, damn, this fool tried to escape. Lamont got away, man. He got away, and he ended up getting caught again, like 2 months later. But then I ended up getting into it with the Africanos again when one of the homies came through, and it was always, man, every time I got cool, you know, I fought with these guys, we got cool, we got through it, we talked about it, straightened shit out. I get a homie that would come in, they'd end up getting into it with them, and I'd end up having to get into it because that's my homie. It's like, fuck am I supposed to do? I gotta ride with them, win, lose, or draw, and whether they're right or wrong, if a homie's getting them up, I gotta I gotta involve myself, man. So, you know, it was just one of them things, man. But anyway, they ended up taking me to court for that shit, and they didn't hit me with an escape. You know, it was an attempted escape, but they fucking my probation officer at the time, man, he ended up working with the fucking courts, and they ended up giving me a break, man. They cut me some slack because they could have sent me to fucking YA for a long ass time, and I thought I was gonna go, but he ended up working it out later on to where I still ended up going to a fucking program, man. But anyway, that's just a quick one, man. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody died, ain't nobody get shot, nobody's head and neck got stepped on, man. It's just a short story from the past, man, about you know, one of my attempted escapes, man, from Fort Knox Juvenile Hall. But anyway, man, this is episode 19 of War Stories. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm about to get you guys some bangers in a minute. Might hit you with an inner demons. We'll see what's up. But I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. I hope I got some of you to work. I hope I killed some time for some of you. If nothing else, man. With that said, it's your boy B, episode 19, and I'm out this motherfucker. Bwah.